Light Up Ladies podcast, the first episode. I'm so excited to even be starting this podcast. First off, because, I've been away from the podcast radio game for about 3-4 years now, but it's still my heart because, people that follow me, I started at Hot 97. So I wanted to come back and do a podcast that had meaning to it, First off, this is CannaBae. I know I'm sharing my life story and a whole novel, my confessional with her right now. I'll introduce her in a second, but I wanted to tap into a community that hasn't been spoken for. It's being spoken for, but just elevating it to the next level, specifically for women. If y'all know me, y'all know that at Hot 97, I started Ladies First, which was a show building up women empowerment, highlighting women in the industry because it is such a male-dominated industry, at least in the music world. So I wanted to transfer that and do that here with Light Up Ladies. And in the cannabis world, a world that I'm not new to, has been part of me and my family and culture for a very long time. And so I wanted to have a very special guest on, a wonderful, amazing woman who's doing incredible things in the industry, and to have conversation to but to break the stigmas of women working in the industry and women just smoking in general. So I'd like to introduce you all to CannaBae, Erica of WeedMaps. Big up to her. I'm the only one clapping because we're the only one in the room, but it's fine.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So, what I was just saying before, you being a woman in this industry, I'm sure you have tons of stories to share. Maybe some trials and tribulations or obstacles that you've dealt with as a woman, right? And just kind of sharing some gems you can with the people out there about the industry and being a woman in it. But let's start off with little Erica, little CannaBae.
Oh, yeah.
And how did CannaBae transition into this as her career? First off, tell them what you do and then we'll get into that.
Okay, so currently right now I am the Senior Account Executive of Emerging Markets at WeedMaps. So I manage all the dispensaries in the New England area, New York, New Jersey, Mass, Maine, Rhode Island. So managing all their listings, online menus, helping them with digital marketing, all of that stuff. So
boss shit, yes.
Yeah, we do a lot of events. We try to get involved in the community in a lot of different ways. So it's nice working hands-on with these clients, with all the dispensary people, the marketing directors, and really helping them elevate their brands and their message and getting it across to the consumers.
Amazing, incredible. So how did you transition into this role? Well, let's start with, baby girl, baby Erica.
Yeah.
And how did the cannabis world or how did you enter the world?
So I have been a troublemaker.
That's how it always begins.
Day one. So
you were probably smoking in the hallways at school or in the staircase.
Yeah, I was getting in trouble, leaving school early, smoking weed, in school suspension every day,
For real?
I was so bad. I barely graduated high school.
When did you start smoking, if you don't mind me asking?
So I started smoking when I was 12.
12, really?
Yes.
Okay, so explain that experience for a 12-year-old coming across marijuana, weed for the first time and trying it out. Do you remember that moment?
Oh yeah, I was definitely hanging out with the older kids. Going places I wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
Sneaking out the house.
Yeah.
Type shit. Getting picked up by boys and going and smoking blunts.
At 12 years old?
Oh yeah.
You are too much for me.
We were all over the place. So
That's wild.
it was crazy times growing up and kind of.
So you grew up fast.
Grew up fast.
Okay.
By 14 I was selling weed.
Wait, hold on. Let's backtrack a little. So at 12, when you took that first hit, what were you feeling or thinking? Were you what the fuck is this? Or were you I want more? How do I get my hands on more? And yeah, I'm down for this.
I feel like it was one of those things where you get super high and just pass out.
Do you remember what kind it was?
I feel like I smoked some white shark. Like that was the first time I remember getting super, super high. Like it was some white shark. We smoked a blunt of it. And I definitely like fell asleep at my friend's house, like woke up hours later, like
what happened?
The fuck happened?
Yeah.
So that was good. I feel like, you know, kind of getting into the weed thing I was like dealing with a lot of trauma in my like life at home and family and stuff at a young age, and that kind of like led me into self-medicating probably. And then once I started smoking weed, I was like, oh, this shit's lit. Love this. Like,
yes.
And you know, that kind of developed over the years, and of course I was still being a troublemaker
and hustling at 14.
Yeah, hanging out with the wrong crowd.
So okay, so I'm just trying to understand, because you were hustling at 14. So you had your Connect, I'm assuming, or you worked for your Connect, where you sell. Are you able to share this? I want the real deal story.
I'll tell you, like dead ass. My mom used to be like, she would give me like $20, and I'd be like, can I get another $20? She'd be like, what are you saving up for an ounce? I'd be like, yeah.
Oh, she knew. She knew already. That's popping.
I'd be like, and literally, like, I would, you know, get a little bit, flip it, get a little bit more, flip it. Like, I started off small.
Were you doing well?
I always, like, did it all by myself. You know, there was definitely people who helped me along the way, like, fronted me work and, you know, would give me a pound. I would go move it.
Wow.
Bring back the money.
Girl, we're going to get real on this. How long did it take you to move a pound?
Not long. Like,
you a hustler.
Like when I was
I need
young
to learn from
too,
you.
When I was young, like, and it developed very quickly, I will say.
Okay. Were you selling in the, are you able to share this? I mean, we're going to talk real conversation. Were you selling around your neighborhood, or were you selling in school? Like, how are you like?
It wasn't like in school, but like outside of school, like, I lived in a very small like area where everybody knew each other, everybody knew what was going on, and I was like that girl. That
girl to go to, the hustler, the neighborhood hustler.
They knew if they needed something, they could ask me.
Now, was there any competition with the other hustlers around there? I'm only speaking from experience, because I remember in junior high school, right? I bought weed from this kid, and it got around school that I bought from him, and like a bunch of other kids tried to like jump him and all that. They're like, no, this is my turf. You know, 14, that age. So was there any of that going on with you? Did you have any beef?
Had some situations like that, but not like involving weed necessarily.
Okay.
The weed game growing up, I feel like there wasn't a ton of competition for me where I was.
Yeah.
There was a few people, but most of us like worked together versus against each other.
Oh, that's what's up. That's so rare.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm just trying to go down the timeline. So you smoked for the first time at 12. You're selling at 14. I can only imagine what's happening now at 18 and on. So there's more to this story, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I moved out at 16. Was on my own. Graduated high school. And then like shortly after I graduated, I was like 18. I was working. I was selling weed. I was unhappy. I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I was like in Connecticut, and I just hated it. Everybody was just doing nothing with themselves, you know? And I was like, I gotta get out of here. So it's funny, I actually went to the first High Times Cannabis Cup in Denver, Colorado, when it like first went legal there.
Wow.
This was like 2011 or 12, and I was like, oh my god, all these people are like working in weed, and it's amazing, and this is their job, and they're doing this legit, and I was like, this is so cool. And I immediately was like, I need to live somewhere where I can do what I love and like make something out of it. So
what I love of what you're saying is like, you didn't get into the business, I mean, your love for it, but you saw that there was a business side to the cannabis industry, right? Because there's like this whole stereotype and stigma, like people just getting high all day, every day, and that's it. And like, what I don't like is there seems to be some sort of like stereotypical view that people are incompetent. are stupid, don't
Right.
know their shit, don't know how to run the business because they're in weed, and that weed is not a lucrative business.
Yeah.
And so what I think is amazing about your story so far is that you're showing that this is truly a like multi-million, even more, right, dollar business. And there's so much potential for growth and to make money out of it and to be a respectable business person out of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like something where when I got into it, like it wasn't like written out of like,
Yeah.
this is how you become successful in the industry. Like these are people who like do these different jobs. It was still like very new. So I didn't really have like anyone to like guide me through it. It was kind of just by like trusting my instincts and going with the flow and you know, assessing and listening and learning and asking questions. But yeah, I mean, I was always like a good student. Like I was smart. I was a smart person, but I was definitely like a troublemaker. I like to test my boundaries, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did get in trouble a little bit, like with the cops and stuff when I was younger. And
What did you do? What did you get in trouble
nothing
for?
crazy. Just like I was having some close run-ins and was like, I need to get out of here. And so I moved to California
Home of weed.
when I was 19, and I was like just graduated high school. I never went to college. I literally bought like a mini Airstream like camper. I sold like everything I owned, packed all my shit, and
Girl.
was like, I'm gonna go move to California
This
and
is
go
so
work on a weed farm.
This is so inspiring. Like you're legit, that Biggie line, a dollar in a dream, like that's you.
I was just
Like, you banked
I had
on
nothing
yourself.
to lose. Like I was like, there's nothing really for me here other than keep doing what I'm doing.
I love that.
I was like, at the time, by then I was, you know, by 17, 18, I was like catching packs in the mail and like selling weed that way. And then I was like, nah, I need to be on the other side of this. And then the other piece to me going to work on the farms is like, my family I come from like 8 generations of floriculture. So my
It's in your
family's
DNA.
been growing plants my whole life.
Wow.
Like everyone in my entire family. So
It's naturally in your DNA.
when I was like, I should grow weed, it just like everything clicked. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing.
So how does that work on a farm? I mean, you know the logistics, but what were you taking care of on the farm? Was it obviously outdoor, but were you doing any indoor
Yeah.
caring? Okay.
So mostly when I was in California, I started off just working as a trimmer. Like my first job, I went to a farm.
Can I be any better? You're just gonna walk around for like 8 hours a day
No,
trimming bud.
I'm gonna be dead honest. I hate trimming. Like,
Why?
I won't do
Okay.
anything but trimming.
Why? What is it about trimming that
I
you couldn't
hate
stand?
trimming.
But what about
It's
it?
just like you're sitting in the same spot all day.
Just
It's
trimming bud.
itchy. Like I just don't like it.
Okay.
And so it's like a lot to sit there for, I don't know.
I'm just envisioning you like just itching yourself
I'm
all
just,
day,
like, covered in
smoking and like
weed.
trimming shit down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hated trimming. I was like, I'm gonna save all my money
Mm.
and invest, but I was good at it. So I made a lot of money like my first season.
Okay.
And I invested it into a grow with a couple other partners
Mm.
and was able to get, you know, percentages in setup with a grow.
Okay.
And did my first crop.
Ooh.
And so we did outdoor.
Congratulations.
And
Is that hard to maintain?
Oh my
like
gosh.
a farm? It's probably like a million things you have to do. I can only imagine.
It's so crazy because growing weed there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
And each one comes with its own challenges. Like outdoor it's beautiful because, you know, we were doing all organic super soil, mixing our own dirt and like just feeding compost teas and it's growing with the natural sunlight and you're outside giving these plants like just water and like the bacteria is like
Natural.
breaking down nutrients. It's all,
Yes,
you know,
I love it.
symbiotic.
Yes,
you know?
yes. Now, do most strains that are sold in this country, or maybe even across the world, you probably know, do they not put that much care into the weed? Is it very like just spray, and you know, assembly line kind of thing?
That I would say like most commercial setups are very automated at this point.
Okay.
Where like what I was doing in California was like we had huge plants and like I didn't have like staff at my place like throughout the year. It was like me and like 2 other people, you know, and you're very hands-on with the plants. You're looking at them every day. We're like in there, you know, foliating and spraying and making sure they're all good. And
that's so G. I love hearing this. Like, it's just, again, it just blows my mind because obviously I've never worked on a farm, but like this just goes, there's so much that goes behind growing it, taking care of it, shipping it, and then landing in these stores to purchase. Like, you know, these people, the potheads or weed heads, they come and they cop the bud and like, that's it. Like, there's just so many elements to it.
Yeah, and like back then we were still doing this like all
low-key underground.
Black market. I mean, our farms were like legit medical.
Yeah.
So we had like our medical cards and we could stack licenses and
but
all
you were
that.
moving it around.
But we were not selling it to the dispensaries.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that. So going from that, how did you really transition to making this like a full-blown career for you to end up here?
Yeah, so I was out in Cali a while. I was up in Oregon. I had a couple different farms. I made a bunch of money. I was loving it, loved the industry, learned everything about growing. And then after like a couple years, you know, 5-6 years, I was like, I need to get back to the East Coast. The market was terrible. At that point, like everything was going downhill. The prices were dropping drastically.
In the black market, you're saying?
Yeah, I remember.
Why was that? Do you know?
It was just everybody was, well.
What year was this?
This was like 2016 now.
I was gonna, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2016, I was up in Oregon and everybody was getting bugs really bad. The broad mites were going crazy. So like we were losing our crops. There was lots of fires, people losing their crops. The market was super saturated. Like everybody was growing weed, and then they changed all the county laws in California. So like everybody was moving up to Oregon. I remember selling like pounds for $800 just to pay my trimmers, and I was like, this is not worth it anymore.
This is not the life. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if this is the field I need to be in. And then my family and friends on the East Coast, meanwhile, are calling me like, hey, like Massachusetts just went legal, like it's starting to like pick up over here and nobody knows anything about the business. Like you need to get back to the East Coast.
Hello, yeah.
And I was like, facts.
Yes, yes, and you took your ass back to the East Coast where you belonged.
Yeah. I was still young too. I was like, and living on the hill is crazy. Like you're
in the Hollywood Hills?
No, like in the mountains.
Oh, in the mountains where they're growing the beet.
Very rural.
Let me tell you something.
Grid. No.
I took a ride out to the hills once. I was like, where in the fuck am I right now? It felt like I was in another country. Just so secluded. The roads are crazy rocky. I felt like I was in another country. I really did. It's so secluded. I don't know how you could. And you lived out there or you traveled out there?
I lived there for years.
Oh, that is
I literally at one
Swiss
point,
Robinson
like,
shit.
lived off grid on a mountain in California with like no real electricity and stuff, like for months.
And you were okay with that as long as you were like smoking? Or like...
Well, yeah, I mean, you had to do what you had to do to grow weed out there. Like, it was a lifestyle.
You've been through some shit.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That's crazy out there.
And speaking of some shit, as a woman in the industry, right, and a male-dominated industry like this, so I'm assuming because, you know, you're a woman and clearly you're an attractive woman too, there's like a level of respect that's sometimes not there because of that. They think you're like a cute face or like you don't know any better or you don't know your shit.
Everybody literally, when they first meet me, they like assume I'm an influencer. They're like, oh, she's like a pretty girl in weed. She must be an influencer. And I'm like, guys, do you understand that like I've moved like thousands of
hello, I lived in the motherfucking hills.
Like grown
okay.
of fire. Like I've had multiple operations. I've worked for like huge companies. Like like it's so funny to me. And then you know.
So how do you feel when you come across situations like that? You know, and just people or men, not bashing men. We love you, men. It's just, you know, coming across those situations where people do put that, you know, look on you.
Usually what I do in those situations is instead of like trying to defend myself, I just talk my shit. And like people gain my respect once they hear that I know what I'm talking about. You know, like, and sometimes it takes a long time. Like I have clients in this business that I've dealt with for like years before they actually fully respected me. And they would test me, like ask,
what way?
You know, ask me questions. Oh, what do you know about this? What do you know about this?
See, what is all that for? Like, that's not necessary. Like, that's
crazy.
so disrespectful.
I'm gonna tell you though, it's like this industry, if you wanna be a woman in it, you cannot be weak. Like, because they will eat you up. And honestly, I didn't even mind it, because then when it's like I prove them wrong and I prove them that I know what I'm talking about, they fall back like crazy.
And the respect is earned.
Exactly. And then they never try me again.
You know, your story just sounds so similar to the things that I've experienced in the music industry. It was very much the same thing. Like, I was tested, I was quizzed if I knew certain things, and it's sad, you know what I mean? And it's sad it's still happening now. I mean, is this something that you're seeing still to this day in the cannabis industry, or has it gotten better for you?
I would say for me personally, it's easier now, obviously, because I've been in it for so long.
Right.
Like, people know my story, you know, whatever. But even like, new people coming to New York City, like, I'm not from here originally. I've been here for 3 years. And like, even just breaking into some of the like circles here, it's like, people don't know what you've done, and it's constantly this industry
proving
is
yourself.
Very like ego driven. Everybody thinks they're better than everybody else, where like I don't care if anyone thinks I'm better than them. I just like, I want respect because I deserve it.
Absolutely.
So like, just like everyone else does.
Yes.
So,
I mean, you've been hustling since you were 14. I mean,
like,
some people
is all
just,
I've ever done.
and that's all you ever know, and you're very knowledgeable in it. I'll keep repeating this. I mean, you were in the damn hills, farming weed, living like this very secluded life and everything. So, you know, I'm happy that you're in a space now where you gain that respect. It's well deserved, you know, and I'm praying or hoping that, you know, the women, as they enter in this industry, if they're new or if they're in there already, that the stigma, this stereotype, I keep on saying that, kind of, you know, breaks away, and that you guys can have a seat at the table, and you are like your own boss, and you can have conversations and deals without people having to question, without men, having to question you. And this isn't about men bashing. It's just about giving equal opportunity, right? Like, we're not trying to be better than men. We want just to be seen as equal as men, as an equal counterpart, right? So for hearing your story is just very inspiring to me. Like, you literally went from like a rags to riches. Not saying you're like a gazillionaire. I don't know. That might be what you are. I don't know. But like, you really started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yeah, no,
you know?
absolutely.
And you know your shit.
I feel like, honestly, for me personally, transitioning from like the black market side of the industry into the more like corporate legal side.
Is it boring? Be honest.
It's definitely really hard, and you have to deal with characters that you don't probably like. But I do feel like I have a little bit more leverage as a woman on the legal side of the business, because I would say like the black market side is more of that like ego driven type of behavior.
Is that still alive and strong right now? Like, how has that affected, like, with weed being legalized? How has that been affected?
Honestly, a lot of these people are working both markets.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they have product on the black market side. Like, these brands, to get big on the legal market, they're like launching in the black market first.
Really?
And so it's like gaining more traction within the like weed community, because a lot of these people don't go and shop at the stores, like realistically.
Right.
They're buying stuff from the guy down the block still. There's certain people that will always support the black market, or like these little bodega shops, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And like the big brands that want to be big on the legal side, that's what they're trying to do, is like tap in on the black market, get their stuff out, get it in as many hands as possible, because it's unregulated, it's easier to do.
Right.
brand themselves and then launch into the retailers.
Super smart. So, truth be told, because marijuana is legal now, doesn't mean like the hustlers from the neighborhood aren't making any money. They're still doing their thing, and they're very necessary.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I thought about that. I was like, what's going to happen to the hustlers and the people who are selling it in the black market underground? Like, how are they going to be affected? Like, now that weed's going to be available everywhere, you can literally go outside up the block and cop it. Like, how is that going to affect their pockets? Right. So hearing from you now that like it's still necessary, it's just very interesting to me, you know?
Yeah, and I think that like hopefully a lot of those people took advantage of the program that they put out for the card applicants and actually applied to open a cannabis business, because they did give a lot of opportunity for, you know, people who had drug convictions on their records, and minorities and women, and, you know, giving priority to these types of people like within the community that they want to see win. Unfortunately, the system is still fucked. So like
not surprised.
Like 80% of those people won't actually open, but they did receive licenses before anyone else can, and I hope that they do really well with it. So I hope a lot of those people got involved early, and then the rest of the people, like the black market will always live everywhere. It definitely will affect it, but like the market, it goes through ebbs and flows, you know, it's constantly evolving and changing, and there'll always be a need for both.
Well, that's comforting for the people out there who work in the black market, right?
Keep tracking.
Hello, that's the vibe. So before we wrap up, Erica, CannaBae, I'm gonna call you the one. I have some rapid fire questions I wanna ask you, okay?
God, I hate rapid.
And then, girl, you got this. You got this. And also, before we wrap up, I also want you to just kind of like leave a message for the women out there who are trying to get into the business. Any words of encouragement, wisdom, or you know, just real talk, something that you can share they can take with them when it comes to the business, okay? So, first question is, hang on. I gotta find it on my phone first. Okay, best munchie.
Probably like cheeseburgers and fries.
Yeah, you consider it a munchie?
That's like
that's your shit.
Super high. That's probably gonna eat something like shitty like that. Yeah, greasy food.
Do you layer it on with different flavors and shit, or is it just plain?
Pretty like basic. Nothing crazy.
Okay.
Crazy,
All right. Best strain.
Oh, I'm like an old school. I love strawberry pop.
Do you?
Yeah, no one would ever say that.
That's so random. I haven't heard that in ages.
No one even has it anymore.
Wow.
Like, I love like fruity, like sativa dominant.
I love sativa, girl. Can we just
Yes.
please listen?
Yeah.
The hybrids be putting me to sleep.
Yeah. No,
I try. I really do.
So
Yeah.
like, I need to be smoking all day.
Yeah.
And be able to function.
Facts. Hell yeah. Sativa all the way.
Yeah.
Even at night though, like I don't even smoke hybrids or like lows at night. I smoke sativa too. It just keeps me going. I don't know. It keeps me leveled, you know. There's different types of highs, right? So I'm a very much an upper. I don't know how.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah, like I can't be the type to sit and be like a vegetable all day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
That's how I know. Like,
Oh, I'll get there.
Dude.
When I want
I'm
to go
stuck.
down, I'm like, I'll go heavy on the indicas. I'm smoking
Girl.
handfuls. Like, we smoke mad rosin.
stuck like a vegetable on the
Yeah.
couch whenever I smoke. Okay, best city with weed.
Probably like the best weed or the best city that has weed.
That's a good way. Damn. Both.
Because my favorite city to go to that has weed is Barcelona.
Barcelona?
Spain has the best
Poppin'.
weed scene in the entire world. To
I
me.
would never have thought that.
It's so dope. Like they have all the underground weed clubs.
Wow.
I mean, it's very similar to like Amsterdam.
I was gonna say, because that's
But
what
it's-
everyone thinks is the city to go to
Right.
internationally. Barcelona is where it's popping.
Amsterdam is like legal, and
Yeah.
Spain it's like still underground.
Okay.
So it's like, it's kind of different. It's got a different vibe. The clubs are really cool. The people there are amazing. The hash making in Spain is incredible.
Wow.
The growers in Spain are incredible.
Would have never guessed.
To me, that's my favorite.
Okay, and then I'll flip it.
And then like best weed. I mean, probably people are gonna talk shit about me if I don't say LA.
That's kind of like what you have to say, right?
So
that shit is like written in stone that it's gotta be LA.
Yeah,
okay.
LA.
Okay, now this might be controversial because I have an answer to this, but cypher or solo?
Oh, I'm definitely.
Girl, what you gonna say? Please say.
I'm like, I want to be in the cipher, but I'm the bitch that like just bogarts the joint. So
oh, you want to know?
I'm like, you should smoke your own because I'm gonna get high over here.
Let me make sure I don't smoke with you.
Roll
No.
mine and then roll you one too.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't do ciphers. Like, I don't know where your mouth spins, so like I'm not trying to do that. And you ever notice when you pass a blunt sometimes that like it gets so fucking soggy? Some people just like kiss the shit out of it. So for me, I'm like, I'm good.
With anyone I'm not like willing
no,
to
thank
make out with or
No.
something.
No, thank you. Yes, solo all the way for me. Okay. A song or artist that hits different when you're high?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I don't know. I like weird psychedelic trippy shit. I'm gonna go with more recently Lil Yachty's new album.
You feeling it? Okay.
Love.
Okay.
And I went to the album release and he did it in the planetarium in Jersey.
That was a vibe.
And like everybody was smoking weed in there and like there might have been some psychedelics going on. It was just such a vibe. I was like, yes, and it's just got good vibes.
Dope.
So that's my new one.
Yachty. Cool. A movie you watched high that blew your mind? One of those that just like made your mind go, pff, it just make you start processing the scenarios and like you were very entrenched in the movie.
That's a good question. I'm like the first thing that comes to mind is like Fantasia.
No, that shit is trippy. There's a lot going on, colors and flowers and like.
The first thing that's coming to mind is like I remember watching that shit mad high one time and like just really overthinking the whole thing.
What did you think? What was your breakdown like?
No, I was just I can't even remember.
Okay.
I just know that like each situation I was like.
You were making up
dissecting the scenario, like the deeper meanings behind it. Like,
love it. You know what? I'm gonna go home and watch Fantasia, and I'll let you know how.
You're not gonna hate it.
Okay. Weirdest thing you've put together to eat when you were high? Anything you ever ran to the kitchen, chef something up real fast? You know, some people like. I've seen people put freaking like mayo with cereal. It was just
I'm not
wild
like
shit.
A gross snack person. Like,
Okay.
I'm definitely like I'll eat cereal or something like.
Simple.
Yeah. Like,
okay, cool.
I'm not crazy with it.
Got it. The last question. Worst thing someone can do when smoking. What will kill your vibe?
The police.
And on that note, that was not what I was expecting. That will kill anyone's damn vibe, wouldn't it? Erica, thank you so much for chopping it up with me. Follow her, CannaBae Official. You know, you're so dope. I love your vibe. I love your energy. And you're very inspiring. Your story is very inspiring and motivating. I love hearing people who started from nothing and transformed and transcended into doing amazing things like you have. And you've dropped so many gems today. Great first way for me to launch my episode and really set the tone for women out there in cannabis. So before we wrap this up, I need you to just give some words of wisdom, something you can drop for the ladies out there who are trying to light up, who are trying to get into the business, who are trying to, you know, just, or are in the business and need to feel empowered.
Yeah, I would say, you know, don't ever stop. Things are always going to be hard. You just have to keep going. Always, you know, like, if you love what you're doing and you believe in it, you will succeed. I always tell people, like, to be in cannabis, you have to be the most optimistic person because, like, shit will go wrong a lot. And it will seem hard. And you have to just get past it, you know? Like, don't ever give up. Just keep going, pivot. Things will not go your way. Figure out the next best move. And, like, if you want it bad enough, you can do it. Fuck the haters.
Yes.
And all that shit.
Hello. Thank you so much, CannaBae Official Light Up Ladies Podcast. Appreciate you. Check you on the next episode.